monthly event for the Azure Nigeria User Group. Wherever you're joining us, today we have an interesting speaker in the name of Ayomide Oluwaga. He'll be talking us through administering storage in Azure. I've known Ayo, he's participated in the community, and today he decided that he wants to share knowledge on this interesting topic. So Ayo, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Mr. CJ. It's nice to be here again. It's been quite a while, but finally we are here again. Yes. So today we'll be covering the storage in Azure. I don't know how familiar everyone here is with Azure, but Azure is basically a cloud computing platform. And what they do basically is they offer cloud services to individuals such as myself, who do not have the capital to start up buying servers from wherever location we are. And they also offer these services to organizations because Azure is owned by Microsoft and they are such a big organization that they are able to assist others in their little hosting needs as well as the cloud services generally. So we call them the cloud service providers, CSPs. And basically we'll be looking at storage in Azure, which is one of the most important things people use Azure for. Basically, any cloud service has to offer storage. The process is quite simple. Displaying my screen now, and we're going to have a look at it. We're going to create an Azure storage and see how to manage and administer this storage for this session. It's not going to be too long, at least I can promise Mr. CJ this one. It's not going to be long at all, but we are going to cover enough of everything we need to. So I'm going to start by displaying this screen, and let me go ahead and share my screen here. So I prepared the slide ready for this. Just decided to take it up a notch and just keep the slides on. Okay. Okay, just I hope everyone is able to see what I have in here. Is it quite clear?
Yeah.
Okay, yes. So first off, what do we know about storage? Storage is just a means to keep your data stored. And it's basically something we all need. Over the years, we've been buying devices with more storage. We've been getting extra storage for various reasons. And the more technology advances, the more storage you have to get, actually, because things become bigger. What we spent kilobytes on previously, we now spend megabytes on them. So you need a space to hold that data. And that's where Azure comes into play. And that's what we'll be looking at today. Azure offers this storage, basically, and they offer a lot of options for a lot of storage options. So we are going to look at some of them right now. And we have some types of Azure storage accounts that you see. We have the blob storage, the file storage, the queue storage, and the table storage. We are going to create each of these for this particular session so that everyone is familiar with them. just a rundown of it. When you hear blob storage, they're usually referring to storage for actual videos and documents. Blob stands for binary large objects, and it's used to store unstructured data. When they talk about unstructured data, they mean stuff like videos, images, documents, and the rest. And when you see file storage, we are looking at stuff that is used to store actual files, documents, and the rest. And the queue storage is used for storing messages. For instance, the messages that are sent to a printer, you want to store them in a particular location. You would want to use queue. And the NoSQL database is basically a service that allows you to store your data in form of tables. If you're familiar with Excel, that is a very good option for you. Am I still on air? Can you still hear me, please? Mr. CJ,
Yes.
are we still together?
Yes, we can still hear you.
Okay. I just need to make sure. So proceeding, we will look at the blob storage, and basically they are basically for storing large amounts of data. So we are looking at video files or backups for the organization. You would store them in a blob storage. Like I said, blob stands for binary large objects. And then we basically see we have different types of blob storage there. We have the block blobs, the append blobs, the page blobs. Those three are actually the ones that run quite a lot, but you do not need to cram any of this. You are going to see their various uses as we proceed. And basically for storing files, we have our file storage. And with this, you are basically storing anything relating to files. Take note, these options that we are looking at are cost effective, meaning they are less expensive than it would be if you're actually supposed to do it manually. So Azure puts in a lot of options into this for any user. And we have the queue storage, and basically for sending messages that are supposed to be in a queue. This from the queue storage. Basically, it handles messaging. And then we are going to look at the table storage. Anything that is to be put in a table can be put in a table storage. And then securing the data is also one thing we're also going to be familiar with. So we're going to log into our Azure, and we're going to do all of this step by step. When you're securing Azure storage, it comes with a lot of options. For the first one, you have the access keys. With the access keys, basically, it's more like having a passworded link that you can use to access your storage. You want to make sure your storage is safe, you would use access keys. And shared access signatures, if you want to grant someone temporary access to your storage for like a day, an hour, whatever, you would use shared access signatures. And then we have the Active Directory. People who are part of your Active Directory can also access your storage if you allow permission to it. So all of these options fall under the ways by which you could secure your Azure storage. Then we're also going to look at you want to make sure it is quite monitored in case of any eventualities that are about to occur. You want to make sure that it's not going to be a problem for you to use your Azure storage options. So we are going to look through all of those and look at how to monitor these particular storage options we have. And then some of the best practices for managing storage. First one, you have to look at your data lifecycle management. Always remember to actually implement archive storage, or rather backup storage for Azure. And also remember to design a very good storage account. There should be separate accounts for different workloads. Make sure the performance are well optimized. And please always put in access controls as part of your security best practices. So all in all, we are going to jump straight into the practical aspect. So going to directly go into the portal. Let me display the screen. And great. Are you able to see the screen, please?
Not yet.
Okay.
Yeah. No.
Okay. Okay, so great in our Azure portal. From the portal here, you can manage everything that has to do with your storage account. So basically, you could come over here to create your resources in Azure. So I'm going to just make a search for storage. You could go ahead and just search for storage, or you could also just click on the create a resource. You're definitely going to see storage in there, but it's much more easier for people who are new to Azure to use the search bar and just search for the storage. You get the options for your storage account. Please click on it. And you should see the create button right here. So we are going to create a new storage account right here. And loading up. Okay. Select the subscription you would like to use, and then provide the resource group that you would want it to be in. I could choose to create a new resource group. Call that storage, new, no space between it. Okay. I'm just going to give it a unique name. Storage 1, 2, 3. Taken. Test. All right, and then the region where you want this resource to be deployed, you have to put in the region where you wish for this resource to be deployed. Asia Pacific is fine for me. It's quite far, but it's fine for right now. And the primary service, I'll be selecting the blob storage and the workload we want to use it for. I'm just going to proceed with order. Now, most of these options were newly put in. I've not met with these options before when creating storage. The performance standard is fine, except you are running for an organization that needs quite a lot of speed, then you will go for premium. Redundancy, when they are speaking of redundancy options, they are trying to talk about backup options, basically. So you have two options for storage. Locally redundant means a copy of your data will be made locally, that is within the same data center. And geo-redundant means in a separate data center in another part of the world, possibly just a different country, a secondary region. So I'm going to keep it at locally redundant since that is fine for me. And I'm going straight for the next option. I'm going to leave everything at default, of course. The networking options, I'm going to leave them at default and go straight to review and create. So apparently I can see that, okay, verification has been failed. It seems my subscription year was disabled. I wasn't even aware, possibly today. Yeah, but not a problem. Just going to use this one then. So right after creating your storage, you would get your storage in this particular form. And this is where we start administering this storage account. And quite frankly, it's quite straightforward. Azure has made it quite simple enough. You have everything in front of you that you could try to use. Now, the first thing we want to make sure is that people who can access this account are actually allowed to access it.
Are you there? He signed out. Maybe he's having some connection issue. Jonathan, this is like this first time you're joining the event. I've not seen you before. You're mute. You're mute. I'm mute you. I will.
This is my first time of joining.
Okay, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I see familiar faces. So where are you joining from?
I'm joining from Lagos,
Okay. Nice to have you.
Yeah, me too.
Amy Green, Amy Ryan. No, this one had me. Oh.
It's Amy Ray.
Amy Ray.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How you doing? Nice to have you.
Yeah, I'm good.
It's like your first time as well?
Yeah, my first time as well. And I'm in Lagos, Nigeria.
Yeah, nice to have you.
Yeah,
You're lying on the bed. Nice bed.
Yeah. I think Mr. Ayers' network is having an issue.
I think so.
Yeah.
So you guys working with Azure or new to it?
Yeah, we are new to it. We are new to cyber security.
Okay, wow. Interesting.
Yeah.
Which technology on cybersecurity do you use with your work?
No, we're just studying it right now. We've not started working. We just study for me. Yeah.
So, Mr. CJ.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, they are still on the training process. They are students. I work with IO as well.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Um, I think I has a internet issue. Let me message him on WhatsApp. You know what's going on.
Yeah.
Yes, I think so. That's oh my god.
So you're also part of the Microsoft Student Ambassador Program in Nigeria, AD.
What you said? What you said? What?
Are you also part of the Microsoft Student Ambassador Program in Nigeria?
No, not yet, not yet. But I'm aspiring to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ayo
Oh,
is back.
sorry, I got disconnected. Uh,
That's much.
Uh,
about that. I'm back now. I'm alive.
Proceed.
All right. Basically, we're looking at this storage account, and I just wanted to show how we work with this particular storage. And if you can see the screen, can everyone please see the screen? Does everyone see what is on the screen?
Yes. Yeah.
No.
Okay. Okay, so this is what it looks like in the storage account that has been created over here. And of course, we have the access control where you control who has access to what in your account, basically, who has access to it. In here, you can choose whatever you want as an option. If you want people to have access to it, grant access to the resource. Possibly, if they are managers, they automatically have access. You could use your role assignments to grant access to that. If you want to deny some specific people from having access to it, this is where you work all of those out. But before that, let's go straight into our storage itself. So from the overview, of course, you can see everything about this storage. You could definitely see the location where it is. You could see the performance. You could see the replication. You could see the access tiers in there and some other information about these particular storage accounts that we have over here. And where we want to go into is actually the portion of putting in your data into this storage account. And that's where we go for data storage. So in data storage, of course, you have your containers, you have your file shares, you have your queues and tables. Containers are also the blobs. And basically, without you have access into these particular containers. Apparently now, it seems because this account is disabled, I'm having issues with that. So, wow, I might need to switch into another account. But anyway, the containers is where you're going to be putting all your blogs, your videos, your files, and the rest. And from in here, we'll be able to give access to who we want access to be given to. And also we have the file shares where we use for sharing files within an organization. So everyone will have this file share on their PC where whatever you put into that file will be accessible across board. Basically, that's what we use it for. And then we have the queues, and then we have the tables. But I'm unable right now to present that because the account has been disabled and I wasn't really aware of that. So, Mr. CJ. Mr. CJ.
Yes.
Mr.
If you want, I can
CJ.
give you an account if you want.
Okay, you have access to an account there.
Yeah, with subscription if you want. I can forward it to you.
Okay, yes, please do. Let me
Okay.
use that right. Mr. CJ, you were telling us about the student partner program.
No, I was asking Eddie. He said yeah, he knows you and you guys do things together. So I was asking him if he's part of the Microsoft Student Ambassador Program.
Oh, yeah, it will be. Oh, by the way, I'm so sorry. It seems we didn't even do an introduction. Apparently, I didn't even say anything about this, but that's Mr. CJ right there. Mr. CJ is one of the top people in Microsoft right now. He's an MVP, and that's a most valuable professional. Did I get that right, Mr. CJ? Most valuable professional. B?
Yes, that's what Microsoft says.
Okay. Anyway, he's he is an MVP with Microsoft right now. It's not an easy thing to get. It's a very, very big deal. I'm still trying to get to that position, actually. But Mr. CJ and I have been together on some things. It's my Oga over here. And he has been showing me the ropes, basically, on how to run that, how to make that happen. Mr. CJ, thank you so much for making this meeting possible.
You're welcome.
Yes. So while they are sending in the account, okay, yes. Okay, thank you. The student partner program. Yeah, can you please tell us a little bit more about that, sir? For those that are interested.
No, I was asking AD, right? So because I knew that you did it before, Ayor. So
my class some Microsoft got for America, so they won't as we get one updates what they want share.
Ayor, can you try with what I sent you? Let's proceed. Mr. Emmy Green. Emmy, is it Emmy Ren or is it that is Ren?
Emmy Ren.
Emmy Ren. The I is before the E, so it's hard for me to.
Oh,
okay.
That's
okay.
Been pronounced. You make it the
Okay. Before I make mistake, give you a wrong pronunciation. I tread cautiously. Is it a company name or your thy name or what?
No, that is just my name. That is.
Yeah, but that's your name. Wow, let me write. Okay.
Emmanuel. His name is Emmanuel. So it's the short abbreviation of Emmanuel. Imare.
Imare.
Yeah.
Okay, so Mr. CJ.
Yes.
You were talking about the ambassadorship program, right? The student ambassadorship program, Microsoft.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I would be interested because I've been trying to go into cloud though. I've been talking with Ayo, so
yeah.
So I will need a walkthrough to that so I can get started with that.
So after you contact me after this event, then I could tell you a bit about it.
Okay.
Actually, there's a guy. He's also an ambassador. He has this event on Microsoft Reactor, Azure Open AI, and Azure AI Search in Python. So he'll be talking on that. He's also based in Nigeria, in Lagos, Unilag, studying at Unilag. And he will be talking about Open AI, how to create like ChatGPT, working with Azure Open AI, and also Azure AI Search, and using Python. So it's quite interesting. So connect to me after the event, then I will tell you more about it.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
So you're working with AI, right?
No, just cybersecurity.
So we are using Azure or which tool are you using on with for the cybersecurity?
Cybersecurity analyst slash coaching as well.
Okay,
the tools like
yes.
Kali is using like Kali. You mean the tools, Mr. CJ?
Yeah, the tools he's using. I mean, cybersecurity, you can do it with different platform and stuff like that. Right.
Yes. What is it? Yeah. Can you hear me?
Oh, I can hear you
Ayo
now.
is back. Ayo is back.
Okay.
Okay. So you need to approve a request there, Mr. CJ, maybe on your app. Do you have access to the app?
Yes. Yeah, so to access the Azure portal, right?
Yes.
You resend it or something? I approve it. Should I give you? Yes, approve. Proceed.
Request not approved. Okay, it's approved.
Cool.
Okay, we are in. Let me display the screen. Okay, are we able to see the screen now?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so that's thanks to Mr. CJ. I'm just going to go to storage accounts, and we are going to create a new one right now. And for this particular storage account, you just have to select the subscription. It's quite the same thing across all Azure resources. Put it in a resource group. We'll be creating a new one for administration storage. And the resource group is just a container for your resources, just like a folder for your resources. It can house all your resources. You have to give it a unique name. You have to give the storage account a unique name that does not exist anywhere else. So I will call this AY 2024. Does it exist? Nope. Okay. And select the region where you want it to be in. You could, of course, select any of Azure's regions. And the region simply means the particular location where the data center is to be located. So North Europe is what's selected here. I'll leave that at default. And the primary service, of course, I would select blob, since that's what I primarily want to use it for. And the workload, I stick with other and stick with the standard for this particular one. I know premium costs a little bit more, so standard is quite fine for me. Redundancy, locally redundant is fine. And this account also has the option for geo-redundant as well as zone redundant and geo-zone redundant storage. The locally redundant means that your account is going to have a copy within the same data center. That is, there will be another copy on another computer in that same location. The whole idea with that is in case one drive goes down, the other ones are still running. But that does not cover the fact that if the whole data center goes down, you won't be able to have access to your resources, of course. Dual redundant storage tries to break that option. And then basically what it does is that you have a copy in a different region entirely. So it's just like having a backup in a different region. So in case this particular region goes down, the other one would continue. And basically the SLAs are quite different between both of them. The zone redundant, in case your data center goes down, the other data center continues running, and geo zone redundant combines both geo and zone redundant options together in one. We'll stick to locally redundant because it's the lowest storage option there that you have. And over here, we have the security configurations, as well as some other configurations in there. And if you scroll down, you would see the option for hot or cool storage. If you're going to be using this particular storage a lot of times, like the instance of a website and the rest, you would want it to be hot. But if it's something you use once in a while, you would want it to be in cool storage. So basically every other option should be kept at default for now. And then you go straight to review and create. During this process, our Azure account is getting created, of course, and we use, if everything is fine, it's going to let us know. And that means basically we are going to have access to a storage in the cloud. What we are basically creating now is a storage option in the cloud. And once you are done going through all of this, you go ahead and create it. So at this point, our storage is being created somewhere in North America on a particular computer in there with all the redundancy options we selected, of course. And we just have to wait for this process to get completed. And this, we go straight to the resource where we can begin administering our storage options. So of course, we can see everything we selected. Some of these options can be switched, can be changed, can be enabled or disabled. Blob anonymous access, which means anybody can access this blob, is currently disabled. Soft delete, which means when you delete, it doesn't actually go. It stays around for 7 days before it finally gets deleted, just in case you change your mind, is enabled right now. So these are all options we can choose to enable or disable. We have so many other options in there, but we are going straight for the main one right now because I want us to be able to move on faster. So at this point, we have our data storage options. The first one we have there are the containers. Containers are blobs. Blobs are basically binary large objects. And what can you do with a container? A container is basically just like having a folder. I could call this videos. I could create a container called videos, create another computer called pictures. And they will basically serve like having a folder in inside this particular storage account. Now in this, I could choose to upload documents into this particular container. So I'm just going to go straight and select a particular document. In this case, I've selected a file and I'm uploading this particular file to these documents. Take note, if I attempt to open this, I don't get the actual image, but I get a URL that leads to that image. So someone copying that and pasting it in a new tab, if that person has access, should be able to see that image. Unfortunately, here you can see public access not permitted, obviously because I clicked this on anonymously, so of course I can't have access into it. So if I'm going to have access to that, I have to change the access level. It's currently on private here, and I'm going to need to allow access into it. Now to change access to this particular container, I would need to go back to the overview. I can't change it over here. In the overview, I'm going to have an option here. And blob anonymous access, and I'm going to enable that. Allow blob anonymous access. I enable that, and then save. And once that is done, I could now change the access level. Just give me a moment. Okay, it seems it hasn't taken effect yet. Fresh. Enabled. Save. Okay, now we can change it, and I'm going to say anonymous access for containers and blobs. I go straight into pictures, and right now when I click on it, I should be able to view the document in a very straightforward manner. Now this was basically because of the access level. So you want to make sure you are able to determine who can have access to your resources. You can use the access control options you have, of course, to put those in. Now, Azure is a very secure way to keep your data safe. So any data you keep in here, of course, based on your SLAs, you know that it is quite secure. Based on the way you manage it, you should be able to do a lot more with the security options. Also bearing in mind the security consequences of it. Now, those are containers. Like we said, containers are just basically blobs, binary large objects, and you can use that to store in your big files. Your large files can be stored in the containers. The next options we have here are the file shares, and with file shares, things are a little bit more different. If you want to have a portion where a lot of people can put in documents into a single storage medium, and this bunch of people can also have access to anything that is in that storage, you would want to use a file share. Basically, creating a file share is quite easy and straightforward. You give it a name. I'm going to call this new file share. And choose in the access tier options. We have the auth and code. Transaction optimized is the lowest cost. We'll go for that right now. And then we go ahead and create that. Let me make sure the size is quite okay. Okay, so create. And create. Okay, so right now we have a file share. Basically, we could connect this file share to our systems, connect it to whatever PC you want in here. I'm going to give it a drive letter. I think E or F is fine. And the authentication method, storage account key is quite fine. And all you have to do is take up that script, copy the script, go straight into your PowerShell, or the PowerShell of the computer you want to add it into, and paste in the key. Right, so we've added in a file share. A file share is just a way to send files on the network. So you have multiple people connected through the network, being able to share files over that network. Meaning I could basically copy files into this particular network, possibly a file like this, and then throw that into the file share over here. And then everybody that is connected on that particular network will be able to access that particular file that I put in, just like that. Basically, we can download it. You could also choose to upload the file directly here, and anyone who is also connected will be able to have access into it. So we're having a file share, not on an actual server that is physically located within the organization now, but a file share that is directly located on the cloud. And as you can see here, whatever you put into this place will simultaneously also appear on any other PC that is connected to that particular location. It's quite straightforward. So I'm going to upload something in now. And once the upload is done, you should see it should also appear on my system over here. Good. So our file share works, and you could of course delete the old share when you are done with it. I'll do that in later. But that is for the blob, and that is also for the file share. Take note, you can have as many file shares as you want. You could put some for a particular department, put others for other departments. Okay, I have a call. Great. So these options are all part of what you need in an Azure storage account. But one of the other things you want to do is the aspect of the security of that account. So securing the account, of course, you have to secure it, make sure that it is running on a secure network. Azure will handle most of this for you, but you also have to put in as some little options into your Azure account. For example, we have public network access. Do you want anybody from from the internet to have access to it, or do you want to put a selected number, a selected IP address that would have access into this particular account? And if you want to disable access to it totally, you are going to do that also from this particular network. Also, you can choose the routing options if you wanted to go through Microsoft network or directly through the internet. The most secure option you have is the Microsoft network. And internet routing is also an option, but some people would prefer Microsoft options. Also, we have the access keys. If you want to give people access into this account, you could generate a key and send that key straight to whoever you want to have access into it. Also, you can choose to rotate the key for as many times as possible. Under the data management options, we have the storage task. We have redundancy options where you can choose which location you want it to be thrown into. As you know, we selected locally redundant the first time. And of course, over here, we can choose to switch into geo-redundant storage or zone redundant storage. And that will enable us to pick multiple points where we want this particular storage option to be replicated into. Also, Azure offers data protection options that you can use in there. And for your data protection options, you have your point-in-time restore, you have your backup for blobs. So in case you delete your data or lose your data, you should be able to recover them with the recovery options you have in here. You could also put in soft delete, so if something gets deleted, it will stay in state for it to stay in this account for as many days as you put in here. And soft delete is also enabled for our containers here. Means if I go ahead to delete something in the containers, it would still actually remain. It will still actually remain around, and I could still recover it from the recovery options. And after that, we have our access keys. Oh, I think I spoke about the access keys already. Yes, redundancy options is what we are looking at. And okay, we looked at the redundancy options. We looked at data protection. We are protecting how you can protect your data. Of course, we can also choose to enable versioning for blobs. And versioning basically means you are maintaining the previous versions of the blobs and will enable you to be able to move front or back from any blobs you've created. Also, we have object replication as one of our data management options. And with that one, you're basically able to copy across tenants. So you can copy your blobs across your tenants. We have our blob inventory also. And then we have the option to create a static website. You could host a website on this particular account. It's currently disabled, but you could host a website on this particular account. So also we have some settings that you can use to change some options in here. And you can also lock the account, delete lock, or you use the edit lock. So one of those two locks are fine. Okay, there's a delete lock on this, means I won't even be able to delete this account. Of course, I'm going to remove the delete lock later on. And then we have the options for monitoring, where you can check for insights or alerts of what has gone on your Azure storage account. You also have your workbooks and your logs. And this is the classic monitoring options. And we have some options also for automation. Of course, when you are using storage accounts, there are quite a lot of things you need to look at. The administration involves quite a lot. And the first thing you want to look at is how you create the account. Then you want to see how you manage these accounts. We have the blob storage, we have the file storage, we have queues, and then we have tables. You want to look at security. You need to control access to your account. And the ways by which you would want to control this access, basically, is by using shared access signatures. And let me display the screen right there. Okay, so you want to use your shared access signatures. You want to use Azure Active Directory. You want to use the encryption options that are in there. You want to also be able to manage the data using your data management options, of course. And also remember your replication strategies. Also versioning and soft delete, like we looked at the last time. And also, you want to make sure you're able to monitor your account properly. Monitor the cost, because storage is quite expensive. as well. So storage is a quite expensive option. And you want to make sure you don't overspend while you are on it. So some of the practices you want to see while you're on this, your storage, while you are managing storage, is of course your data lifecycle management. Manage the data properly. The storage account, the way you design the account also, depending on what you want to use it for, you need to make it as appropriate as possible. In some instances, file storage, the file storage might not be necessary for an organization. They might look more on the blob side of things. So you need to know, depending on which particular, okay, give me a moment. No, can pick that now. So depending on what you want to run, you need to look at which design you want to use for that particular moment. Also, based on the performance, do you want it to be an auth tier management, or do you want to run with the code tier? Any one is quite appropriate. So some of these practices are stuff we should implement when we are looking at storage. So with that, we have a summary. Azure storage is actually quite big and it's very robust. Also, for quite a lot of people, they find it a bit more cost effective than using your own servers for this sort of things. So of course you could create your blobs, you could create your files, you could create the queues and the tables, work across different data storage needs. And all you need to look at is securing it properly. Security is already taken care of by the cloud service provider, but you have some responsibility towards managing other key aspects, such as the access keys. You as the account holder has access to the keys, and you can give the keys out. Shared access signatures also, and whoever is in your Active Directory, you have to be able to manage all of those. So if you're monitoring also, you'll be using tools such as Azure Monitor, which is provided by Azure already. Storage Explorer, of course. All of this will give you visibility into your resource. And as we end today, these are some of the things we should look at while administering Azure. So thank you very much, Mr. CJ. I think we spent an hour already. Not exactly what I expected, but thank you very much. Can you still hear me, sir?
Yes. Yeah. Quite interesting section. Yeah, storage in Azure. Yeah, I like it.
Thank you.
Any questions? Jonathan, Jordan, and also Mr. Emma Rain.
Well, for me, no questions, no questions.
Okay, so I want to ask a question.
Quietly in a meeting.
Mr. AY.
Yes, go on, please.
Okay,
go
so
on.
I want to ask, in the case where there's a DDoS attack on the Azure account, right? What do you do?
Well, that is what I was trying to point out. Most of the security aspects are already dealt with by Microsoft. So any DDoS attack that comes at is going directly to their servers, of course, and the security is already handled. You don't have to do anything in that particular scenario. But if in case anything goes down in Microsoft, any of their services go down, you would be able to see it in the service health section of the page. So if a particular location such as, let's assume the North America was selected, if it goes down by some magic, you would definitely be able to see that on that page. And of course, Microsoft deals with it, not you. You do not have any option to deal with the DDoS attack at that particular point. So you won't really do much. Does that clear it up, Eddie?
Yes. That's clears it up.
All right, sir.
Cool.
Are there any other questions?
From my side, no question. Mr. Ayo, I believe we'll be having getting an advanced or intermediate level of this knowledge from you in future events to come.
Yeah, of course, I will. I will look at that.
Yeah, cool.
So, thank you so much, Mr. CJ. And at this point, I think we've actually spent more than we actually planned. But thank you very much, everyone that is in here. Mr. Jordan, Mr. Emirain, Eddie, Okoji, Mr. Michael, Mr. Archibald, Mr. Sam. Thank you so much. Nice to have you. Yeah, Mr. CJ, thank you very, very.
Yeah, somebody
CJ is
dropped a
quite a
question.
busy man.
Somebody dropped a question on the chart. Can you look at the chart? So what it says, in case where you are migrating unstructured data like video files from an on-prem DC to Azure, what's the best storage type to use?
Finish it.
Oh, great. So if you are moving your unstructured data, what you need to look at mostly is you are going straight for blob. In that case, any unstructured data goes to the blob directory. So you are going to put it in blob, especially if it's a video file, if it's a document, and you're moving it from on-prem. The options you'll probably be using to migrate from on-prem also, I don't know the particular service you might want to use in that scenario. But anytime you move it from on-prem to Azure, it's definitely going to be stored as a blob file. So now, depending on what kind of file it is, if it's something you're going to be accessing a lot, then you choose what kind of access you want that particular storage to have. So you could choose the auth tier, or the code tier, or the archive storage. So one of those will come into play. But for the answer to your question, the one you use is blob. That's the binary large object. That was a question from Sam. Mr. Okoji. Okay, Okoji yes said he thought the event would start by 7. Oh, it starts by 6. Start by 6. Yeah, Mr. Rio, Mr. Biodun, it seems he has a question. So we can hear you, sir.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
As you already know, seen, my name is Michael. Okay, so I have a question, and the question is about access keys and shared access signatures. What is actually the difference between the two? Which has access to what? And all that. I just want to know, because I actually always get it confused.
So yes, sir, your question was the difference between the access keys and the shared access keys. Can you still hear me, sir?
It's a mute. Yeah, so the question is
yes. Yeah. Difference between access keys and shared access signatures, and how they actually give access to storage and stuff.
Okay, so for your access keys, basically, they are, how do we put it, longer lived. Like they basically give full administrative access to the storage account in Azure. So you have full access. If someone gives you an access key, it's giving you full access to that particular storage account. Meanwhile, the shared access signature is basically if I wanted to give you an access to a particular resource in that storage, like for instance, the video. I want to give you a read access or a write access.
Okay, I get it now. Thank you very much.
Okay, guys, it's almost getting to 1 hour 20 minutes. So, guys, thanks for joining. It's a pleasure to have you guys once more. Thanks, Sam Kibong. Ayo,
Still
thanks for
hear
this
me clearly?
presentation. Yes, I
Yes.
can still hear you.
Okay.
Thanks, Jordan, Eddie, Oji, Amy Rain for joining,
Yeah, thank
and,
you, Mr.
and
CJ.
Candy. And Candy for joining last. Okay, guys. Next week I'll be hosting the event as usual, and I look forward to having you guys next week Saturday for an interesting section. You will like it for sure, definitely. Nice topic I'm coming up with.
Yeah, nice having you, Mr. CJ. Thank you
We
very
would like
much.
to have it very early too. This one I got in late. So
No problem.
Oh.
Around what time? Say
same time, right? 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
6 o'clock.
Okay, Niger time.
Yeah.
Jordan,
Thank you.
you have a question?
All right. Thank you, Mr. CJ. Oh, I'll be off right now. Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure, guys. Take care. You. Bye, guys. Enjoy
All
evening.
right. So, all right. Bye.
Ciao. Bye. Yeah.